let me ask you something. Are you really sure your financial data is telling you the whole story? In this explainer, we're diving into the 2026 Localization Roadmap for your chart of accounts. And trust me, it's a critical update that is going to completely change how you see your business's finances. Let's get into it. All right, let's just get straight to the point. Is your chart of accounts actively holding your business back? I mean, if you're using an older system, the answer is almost definitely yes. We're talking about major compliance headaches, reports that are confusing at best, and audits that, well, they become an absolute nightmare. The real question is your financial foundation solid, or is it starting to show some serious cracks? So here's our game plan. We'll kick off with the risks of sticking with those old systems. Then we'll get into the details of the new 2026 standard, walk you through the step-by-step migration path, spotlight some key regional compliance updates, and finally, wrap up with why this is such a non-negotiable step for the future of your business. Okay, so let's start with the problem itself. Why is it so risky to just keep using those legacy financial templates? The ones you're probably comfortable with? Wow, the difference here is it's just night and day. Over on the left, you've got those old flat templates. Disclosure is so limited, you can't really see the story behind the numbers. Consistency is a constant battle, which just invites errors. And trying to compare performance over time, it's basically a guessing game. But on the right, with the new structure, it's a massive upgrade. We're talking excellent disclosure, consistency that's practically built in, and a crystal clear audit trail. It's a total shift from messy data to genuine clarity. And this analogy just nails it. Sticking with a legacy chart of accounts is exactly like trying to navigate a modern highway system with a crumpled paper map from 30 years ago. Yeah, you might get where you're going eventually, but you're going to miss all the shortcuts, you'll get stuck in traffic jams you could have easily avoided, and let's be honest, you'll probably get lost. You need a GPS, a system built for today's world. Which brings us right to the solution. So let's take a closer look at this new 2026 standard and see what makes it so much more powerful. So this new standard is really built on three powerful pillars. First, you've got linguistic localization. This just means the system speaks your local language, so it says quote in Canada instead of estimate, for example. Second, a clear visual hierarchy, which finally brings some logical order to your accounts. And third, a major technical database upgrade. This moves you to a modern structure that's GAAP compliant, which is just the gold standard for financial reporting. Okay, this right here is the real game changer. It's the shift to a parent, child, or sub-account structure. So instead of one long, flat, confusing list, you have main parent accounts, like sales, that can be neatly broken down into specific child accounts, like product sales or service revenue. It creates this logical family tree for your finances that makes your reports incredibly clear, and it gives you the power to see exactly which parts of your business are driving success. Now, this all sounds fantastic, right? But you're probably sitting there thinking, okay, how do I actually make this switch? Well, let's walk through the migration path together. Don't worry, the process is actually a pretty simple four-step plan. Step 1, figure out which legacy template you're currently using. Step 2, take a look at the master deprecation list to see why it's being retired. 3, select the new recommended replacement. And finally, step 4, customize it using subledgers. Just think of those as mini ledgers that let you track specific things with a ton of precision, like what each individual customer owes you. Let's look at a real-world example from South Africa to see how this works. Before, there were all these different industry-specific templates that were frankly impossible to keep updated with the South African Revenue Service, or SARS. The new approach? It gets rid of all of them. Now, you just start with one generic, fully compliant template, and then you customize it to fit your needs. It's so much simpler, way more efficient, and it guarantees you're always aligned with the latest tax laws. That South Africa example is the perfect segue, because this whole update is really built around localization. So let's zoom in on some of the key compliance updates that are coming for our users in Canada and the UK. For our Canadian users, this is a massive step up. The new templates are fully aligned with Canadian GAAP and ASPE standards, which is the official accounting rulebook for private companies in Canada. Plus, you get active multi-province tax handling for way more accuracy. And, of course, standardized Canadian terminology for that professional, local feel. And for our users in the UK, the changes are all about embracing the post-Brexit reality. The default currency is now the pound sterling, and all the VAT standards are aligned directly with HMRC. The system now handles modernized, postponed VAT accounting for imports, and to really clean things up, those old, redundant EU-specific accounts have been removed. This is a native British system from top to bottom. Now, this is a really important notice, especially for our users in places like South Africa, where tax rules can change on a dime. The new templates give you an incredible, compliant foundation to build on. But tax laws are always evolving, so the critical takeaway is that you always need to verify the latest rates with your local tax authority. Think of this system as a powerful tool, not as a replacement for professional diligence. All right, let's bring it all home. What does this update truly mean for you and your business? Not just today, but in the long run. So why does all of this really matter? Because this is so much more than a new template. It's about future-proofing your entire financial system. Just imagine. Audits that are a breeze instead of a burden. Reports that actually give you game-changing insights, letting you see profit margins by product line at a glance. Imagine compliance that feels effortless. This is a strategic upgrade that's going to pay dividends for years and years to come. And that brings us to one final thought. I want you to take a hard look at your current setup and honestly ask yourself, is my financial data built on a stable, modern foundation? Or is it a house of cards, just waiting for the next regulation change to come and blow it all down? The 2026 standard is here to make absolutely sure you're building on solid rock.